Welcome to the Magnetic Marketing Podcast. Today we get to listen in to a very interesting discussion. Oftentimes everybody listens into Dan Kennedy's training and they say, how is that supposed to work for me? And how is that supposed to work for my business? Today we get to listen to Diana Coutu, known today as Diana Klein, as she discusses how in her 14 years in the pizza industry, she stands on 3 pillars of marketing activities, how they changed their business name in order to stand out, and how they implement direct marketing, personality, and membership programs inside of her pizzeria. This is how you leverage, this is how you compete, and this is how she is doing it in one of the hardest industries. If this episode does not give you ideas on how you can grow and implement all of the strategies Dan Kennedy teaches into your business, you might have an internal blockage. So listen in as Diana reveals her process to implementing all of these strategies inside of her pizzeria.
I don't think there's anybody that has had a bigger impact in the field of direct response than Dan Kennedy.
The legend of Dan Kennedy should be ignored at your own peril.
They're not really lessons, they're kind of laws that you live by.
Dan opened my eyes to what small business marketing looks like.
Dan teaches strategic direct response that is timeless.
His ripple effect touches people who don't even know his name.
The world as we know it was changed because Dan Kennedy became obsessed with marketing.
Welcome to the Magnetic Marketing Podcast with your host, Dan Kennedy.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have with me, as promised, a mystery guest who is doing very interesting direct marketing things in a business that is generally not considered to be a direct marketing business and is in fact a commodity business. So now to our guest and our conversation. And it so happens I just updated the No BS Direct Marketing for Non-Direct Marketing Businesses book. And I think often the most interesting direct marketers are not actually pure direct marketers, but they are ones who are making it work in businesses where you don't often see it, and that perhaps fight commoditization and price suppression, and perhaps would logically be affected by recession and so forth. And so a longtime member you've read about at least many times if you haven't had a chance to meet her in person, and somebody whose innovation with her business I always admire is with us. Diana Coutu. As of the last time, Diana, you sent me some information. I'm just going to cherry pick some of it. Sales up 27% over prior year. Ticket averages nice and high. Dine-in is $42, delivery is $39, and takeout is $32.
Right.
You've got all sorts of stuff going on promotionally in the store, pizza making classes, kids pizza making area that sounds to me kind of like Build-A-Bear, but Build-A-Pizza, birthday parties and so forth.
Right, very similar.
A new Food Network show, which I definitely want to make sure we hear about. There's a great line in your note to me that there are landfills of carcasses and barely breathing bodies who all thought the pizza industry was easy and that it brings in buckets of cash. Lots of people think every business is easy until they're in it. So those are some things in your long report that caught my eye, and I thought people might be interested in and impressed with. So let's back up, though, and let's quickly talk about sort of the birth of the business and how it really is marketing and driven differently than most pizza businesses.
Well, originally when my husband and I opened the business, we got into the business just like a lot of other people do, and just figured that we could do it better and do it on our own, and we thought it was all about the pizza. And we picked a name. We took our university marketing textbooks and read through it again, and picked a name that we thought was all about the logo and was easy to remember, and we struggled and failed miserably for a number of years. We copied everybody else's in the industry, poor marketing, glossy flyers. In Winnipeg here, we have the standard is 3 for 1. You often will find 2 for 1 prices, but more common is 3 for 1, and even there's a couple places that'll do 4 for 1. And
I just want to clarify. So that's buy one pizza, get 2 free.
Correct. Yeah. So, we were just following everything that was already out there. And thank goodness we came across you one day and, gave our head a shake and realized that there was a lot more that we were missing. And it wasn't about, everything that we'd learned in university about marketing had nothing to do with a small business like ours, an average just mom and pop shop type thing. And we started doing some direct response marketing. We started to gather more information about our ideal customer and what they were really looking for. And within a matter of months, we changed our entire business from, mass mailing flyers and menus out to direct mail, direct response marketing, so that we were targeting our ideal customers and growing our database and just working within our database to grow our sales.
So if we had to name, 5 pillars or less of marketing activity that has fueled and does fuel the business, it's now, how long have you been in business?
14 years.
So it's pretty mature at this point, although you added dine-in not all that long ago. And
just over a year ago.
And doubled physical size?
Not quite. We added another 1,200 square feet.
Okay. So, there's growth, but it's a fairly mature business. But so what drove it and what drives it now? What are the 3, 4, or 5 big marketing engines that you rely on an ongoing basis?
On an ongoing basis, it's first and foremost, it's our monthly newsletter. So that goes out to between 3,000 and 3,500 of our most active and regular customers. And that's something...
That's print offline?
Print, yeah. That is print offline. It's a 8-page booklet style that's folded in half and has a little tab over it. Gets direct mailed through Canada Post to our customers, addressed by personal name if we have it, if not just by address. And every month that goes out without fail. That's something that you couldn't pay me to stop doing. Definitely that's our biggest one. And then the other 2, I would say we do a thank you postcard to new customers. So this is an oversized postcard, as oversized as we are allowed to within our mailing restrictions with Canada Post. But it's a bright color and oversized, and it's for a bounce-back offer. Just very simple wording, says, thank you very much for ordering from us. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please tell your friends. If you didn't, please call us back and give us a chance to make it right. And here's an offer for free cheesy sticks with your next large pizza. So that goes out within a week of a new customer ordering from us. And then the other big one that we do is the lost customer campaign. So if we haven't heard from a customer in 50 days, we send them out, again, an oversized full-color postcard and invite them back and let them know that if something was terribly wrong with one of their orders, we'd really love to hear about it. And, we miss them, and we'd like to see them back, and here's a great offer to come back and see us.
How'd you pick the 50-day mark?
Well, we tested it. We started off with 45, and then we found that within our database there's, a little bit of flux. So some people order once a week, some people order every 2 weeks, and then, these days families are very, very busy. So it's not uncommon to have, a little stretch where people are just traveling or away, and then when they get back, they're still in the loop for the newsletter, and so they're still getting the newsletter, but maybe they just didn't order for that period. And so the 50 days is just the perfect cutoff where it's not too long, where they've completely forgotten about us, but it's not too short where they might have ordered from us within a 30 to 40-day mark.
Tell me about price. Why do you think you're getting away with the pricing that you are. And I would point out to people that you are not in Beverly Hills or Manhattan or any area that acts like Beverly Hills or Manhattan.
Right. Yeah, we don't have our Real Housewives of Winnipeg show here. There is affluence here, but it's not as prominent as you would think of, especially with other larger cities, U.S. cities. But really, when Pierre and I got in the business, we really just wanted to make a better pizza, an upscale gourmet pizza. And again, we tried that at first, but we were doing the same kind of marketing that all the other low-budget places were doing, and we were getting lost in the mix. We just thought that people would realize that it was a better quality pizza, but they don't, because we put ourselves in that category. And so we changed our name from a generic, logo-driven name to Diana's Gourmet Pizzeria. So that was really one of the key parts of our transformation, that we personalized the business and tied it to me, a personality who, I've always been particular about the food I eat and, how it's prepared and is it really good quality, or are you just telling me it's good quality and I can taste that it's not. But people can identify with that. And from there, we just decided that we would put gourmet right in the name. I mean, this goes back now, I think it was 8 or 9 years ago we changed our name. And we were one of the first to actually put gourmet in the name of the pizzeria, or in the name of the pizza. And it was that distinction that was attracting a different style of customer, a different type of customer, and someone who wasn't driven by price, someone who's driven by quality and service.
You have a certain number of these customers in membership programs.
I do.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that.
We have a Gourmet Pizza of the Month Club, and so we have 3 levels, silver, gold, and platinum. Very basic. When I designed the program, I just try and keep in mind the keep it silly simple principle. So I wanted to add extra value for these customers who would prepay at the beginning of the month for their level of membership. And we send out either $30, $50, or $100 worth of gift certificates, depending on the level that they signed up for. And then we also send them different bonuses. So they're member bonuses. One is like for a free appetizer. Another one is for a free frozen panzerotti. We do a frozen line of pizzas and panzerottis at our pizzeria, and these are perfect for, take to the office for lunch, or, kids come home from school and nobody's home yet and they're starving, so pop a panzerotti in the microwave. And depending on the level of membership, you'll get 1 of each, or 2 of each, or 4 of each. And, of course, the higher level of membership will get like a free specialty pizza every quarter. They'll get a medium pizza for their birthday and their anniversaries versus a small pizza for free, just to make sure that they know that we know that they are our best customers, and we want to reward them for that.
And so, without revealing numbers, how just in percentage terms, how much of your business is within the membership context, and how much of it is pay by purchase?
Oh, it's been a while since I looked at those numbers, and I have to apologize. I have pregnancy brain, so numbers aren't my strong suit right now. But I would say that about 30% is from membership, and then the rest is customer, like database-driven.
That's a significant number, obviously.
It is.
It is nice to start the month putting money in the bank, isn't it?
It certainly is, especially when you got rent going through and you got a bunch of things that are just scheduled to go through the 1st or 2nd of every month without fail. And, you know that you've got a good chunk coming in without fail, too.
So you've got direct marketing driven with your own media, and you've got membership concept, and you are personality-driven. Let's talk a little bit more about the personality thing, because I know you've gone out of your way to make yourself globally famous, as well as you in the business locally famous. Talk about both. And you just wound up having to give up one of those opportunities. Speaking of the pregnancy, you wound up not going, right?
Right, yeah. Well, it started off with a contest that was being run in conjunction with a Canadian Pizza Magazine and a Pizza Today, the U.S. Pizza Magazine. We're holding a contest for looking for Canada's best pizza chef and also U.S. best pizza chef to go head-to-head in a showdown in a competition in Vegas. So I entered this competition on the Canadian side, and I won. I was awarded Canada's best pizza chef for 2005. And I received a whole lot of free publicity, a whole lot of local, a whole lot of national exposure, and I just kind of got the bug for competing, so I entered into quite a few different competitions in Las Vegas and New York and in Italy. And I did very well for a number of years. And, that's always a great story for local and national media to pick up. And so I must have done, several dozen interviews over the years just from my pizza baking skills. And in 2009, I was invited to judge in Italy at the World Pizza Games. And it's a huge honor for a pizza chef, so I accepted. And so I don't compete anymore. I'm on the judges' side of the table. And I've judged in Italy and in Vegas and for France. And most recently, I've been invited to judge at the first ever World Pizza Games at Euro Disney in France. But unfortunately, I'll be 34 weeks pregnant, so it's right at the too large to comfortably travel in an airplane stage. So I had to decline.
And tell me about leveraging that. What impact do you think it has with customers? How do you use it within your own media? And then I also want to ask you about this Food Network thing.
Right. Well, it's very important to leverage. I mean, I find that especially with the pizza making classes, where people are genuinely interested in making a really great pizza at home, and it gives us the opportunity to tell the story about, how we became famous and what it is that I'm so passionate about pizza. And it's funny because a lot of people call me a celebrity pizza chef, and if you had told me, 10 years ago that there was such a thing, I might have said, well, maybe that's Wolfgang Puck, but possibly not me. But it's very interesting. People love to see other people that have gained notoriety, people who are good at what they're doing, and people who've been on TV. There's huge admiration for celebrities, and even though I may not be as well known as Angelique, but it's still quite popular, and it gives people things to talk about, and so they talk about it at work, they talk about it after work, in their social circles, and
I think that's the biggest payoff, and I think that's something a lot of people miss is giving the customer bragging rights by being your customer.
Right.
Stories to tell, bragging rights status. I think that drives word-of-mouth marketing more than maybe anything else.
I agree. I agree. Because you'll have, customers who'll say, well, have you been to such and such place? Or, well, I only order from this place. And, immediately the customer has this pride that, well, did you know that she has done this or she's been to Italy? And, before you know it, they're telling your story for you, and it's of interest, and it just spreads.
So what's the Food Network gig?
Food Network, we were contacted by a hit show. It's a pretty new show. Apparently we were on their radar for the first season, but they filled up very quickly. And so, it's a Canadian Food Network show. It's called You Gotta Eat Here. And they go across Canada, city to city, and they find independent places that the customers rave about, and they feature 3 signature dishes, and then they do a day of filming in the dining room with the customers, and you actually have your raving fans talk about what they love about your food, what they love about your pizza. So I wanted to be on this show. It was suggested to me from a couple of our customers that we should invite them down. And so, of course, I sent an email and I invited them down, and I didn't hear back. And then I realized, but the way that they work is they want customers to recommend a place. So in my newsletter, I actually asked my customers to email the show. I put the email address right in there and asked them to contact the show and tell them why they have to come down to Winnipeg and eat at Diana's Gourmet Pizzeria. So they contacted us and said that, we had been on their radar, but they got just a flood of emails and phone calls about us, and they knew that we had to be first on the list for season 2. So they asked me to put together an application package kit and submit it. And they actually came last week. We had 2 days of filming and wrapped that up, and it's supposed to air either January or February of next year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And unlike a reality show, you don't have to keep this a secret, right?
That's right.
So you can promote it before it airs and get some mileage out of it after it airs.
Right, yeah. We've been talking about it in the newsletter, and we do a weekly e-zine that goes out, and then also on our Facebook page. And it's just been very, very positive. And
Do they have a big viewing party?
I hope to. They're going to contact us 6 weeks ahead so that we know when it's supposed to air. And, I'd like to have a screening party. And apparently all the restaurants that have been featured in Season 1 just got slammed. So we're looking forward to it. And they air it 2 days later, so it just perpetuates and grows on that.
Well, maybe it'll lead to Food Network USA.
Ideally, that would be great.
That would be good, huh?
Yeah.
So tell me now about competition and competitors. So how many, has anybody paid attention and modified what they're doing because of you? Are you being left alone? What does all that look like?
Well, competition is always different. You have, depending on the actual competition, the location, you'll have anywhere from a couple hundred of competitors to several hundred competitors. And when I started competing back in 2005, I was like the only one who was putting beer in my pizza dough. And this was one of the things that really made us famous and really captured people's attention.
I remember this deal. This is a co-branding deal, isn't it, with a particular beer?
It ended up being that way, but at the time it was just because the contest was, like I said, it was, one side on Canadian Pizza Magazine, the other side through U.S., and the inspiration was Iron Chef for it. So they gave you 40 common ingredients, and they told you were allowed to choose 5 secret ingredients to complete 3 recipes from scratch. And I looked at these, ingredients, and they were all very generic, pepperoni, peppers, ham. And I really wanted to, I really thought about a long time about what makes a Canadian pizza different and Canadian versus Chicago pizza or New York or Italian-style pizza. Each one has their own distinctive type of style for a pizza. And one night it hit me that, Canadians have been enjoying beer and pizza, watching games, for decades. So what happened if I would put the beer in the pizza dough?
A better choice than, say, moose turds.
Much better choice. Yes. And, so the story goes that I took some beer out of our home fridge. It was my husband's preferred brand. And, of course, he was quite upset with me at the time. You don't mess with a man's beer, I can tell you from experience. He offered to buy me cases of the very, very inexpensive stuff because this is a premium beer that he enjoys. But, I explained to him that I really needed to start off with the really good stuff because how would I know when I got to an end recipe that he liked if I didn't start off with a taste that he actually enjoyed and a flavor? So luckily it only took me, maybe a 6-pack before I got the recipe down. And because this one ended up winning Best Pizza for Canada, someone at the magazine contacted the brewery and said, hey, did you know there's this pizza lady out in Winnipeg, and she used your beer in an award-winning pizza dough? And, of course, they were tickled, and they didn't know it's a maritime brewery, so they got an agency to get in touch with me and ask me if I minded if they did a little bit of publicity and promotion around me. And, of course, I thought about it for half a second and said, of course. And that's how, a lot of the publicity came to us. And they actually flew us out for a whole maritime media tour, and we spent, I think it was about 4 or 5 days out there in different cities and just making the pizza and talking to different media, and then a nice tour of the brewery and everything else out there. So it's what sealed the story of how we became famous and what made this Canadian pizza great.
Do you think your local competitors ignore you? Do you think they think you're nuts?
Well, we have a different definition of what our local competitors are. So, I mean, personally, I don't consider the 3-for-1 and 4-for-1 my competitors, just because, they're using ingredients that are imitation, and, every now and then we'll get somebody who says, well, can't you match your competitor's price and do like an extra large unlimited toppings for $6? And our answer is, when they can match our quality, then we'll worry about matching their price, because there's a whole lot of substandard toppings and imitation cheeses out there, especially here in the low-price pizza market. But I know for a fact that a few of them, especially locally here in Winnipeg, are very resentful and jealous of me. They don't usually have nice things to say, but they don't really know me as a person, and they just see me as being the pizza expert. And of course, they don't do what we do to make themselves more of a pizza expert and more interesting, perhaps. But across Canada, I also write for Canadian Pizza Magazine, so I have exposure in the industry side of things through that. And across Canada, I find that I get a lot of admiration and a lot of appreciation that I'm helping to elevate the nature of pizza. It was never meant to be this cardboard-tasting, crappy stuff that you see everywhere. It was always meant to be a really decent food, nutritious, simple ingredients, and tasty.
And you are doing some training, consulting, coaching, whatever in the industry, right?
I do, yeah, I am. I just actually got back a couple weeks ago from consulting with some friends that own pizzerias. They own 8 pizzerias out in Anaheim and Orange County. And because of my experience with pizza making and baking, they asked me to come out and help with troubleshooting with some dough issues and some making their pizza a bit better. And my husband, Pierre, is really a master of operations, so they asked him to help to better systemize things that they have going and create some efficiencies, because for them, for their operations, what they had is, like a lot of people, they started growing stores before they had all their systems in place, and so it becomes a bit of a nightmare, and now we're just working back with them to tighten everything up.
So other than that mistake, what do you've had 14 years in this now, what do you think are, and you've been around me and GKIC for what, probably 8 of those, 9 of those?
Yeah, but I think I think 2003 is the first year that I was introduced to you.
So, what's your observation about like the biggest delusions both pizza business owners have and small business owners in general have, their biggest mistakes, the biggest screw-ups, maybe ones you made and fixed? What do you think are the 2 or 3 biggies?
Well, definitely in the pizza business, speaking from experience, is that people think it's all about making one great pizza or making a good pizza. And they just ignore all these other elements of the business, which are key. Marketing, you can't get by this day and age without marketing. And then operations, too. You need good systems to be able to handle the pizza business. And I'm sure that this carries over into many businesses. And so the people will overlook these important key aspects, and they just kind of think that it'll work themselves out somehow. And then, when you start talking to some of these other, even small business owners, not just necessarily just about just in the pizza industry, and you start talking about marketing, it's like they regurgitate what they hear in mainstream media, and if they've had any kind of university education, they repeat what they've heard with that is, you got to get your message in front of a potential customer 7 to 8 times before they might even think of doing business with you. And that's all complete BS. And I'm so glad that I discovered that years ago, because I wish I discovered it sooner than that, because like I said, we took our university marketing textbook and we ran up quite a bit of debt trying to achieve this model that they write about. And if I wrote a report about it, I would get an A in class, but I get a fail in actual life and in business, because it doesn't actually work. It doesn't actually return anything. You can't track it. And, people are just clueless about it, whether by choice or just by design. And, with the pizza business, it is a labor-intensive business. And so, people think, well, I'm just going to make pizza. Well, the pizza business isn't a business of one. And so you're going to have staff. You're going to have problems with staff. You're going to have issues, and you need really tight systems to make sure that everybody knows what the deal is, and from the top down what's expected of them. And there's very little room for people to have that subject to interpretation. Of course, the nature of humanity is that there always will be that element of stupidity where you didn't realize someone might think of something that particular way, but it's really important to think of these things ahead of time. That way you can prevent some major problems down the road.
So you, I know, are online savvy and are using social media and Facebook, et cetera, and YouTube, and I would like to hear about that. And yet we established you're in the mail every month with a printed newsletter, buying stamps from Canada Post. You're in the mail. Really, your other two key pillars are postcard-driven direct mail. So how are you marrying online, offline, and why hasn't offline gone away for you? Why aren't you able to rely on email, web, Facebook, Twitter?
That's a great question. Well, offline, all of our direct mail and direct response strategies, they pull really well. We can track them. People enjoy getting something physical and tangible in their hands. I hear from many, many regulars that our newsletter ends up in the AKA the reading room, and this is like a quiet space where they can just kind of connect with a moment of peace and just read about a funny story and what the new pizzas are at the pizzeria this month. And for online, it's an added step. We won't ignore it because it's there, and especially for the pizza industry, we have online ordering. We streamline things so that we can make it easy for our customers to spend money with us any way they want to, by phone or through the web or through their mobile phones. But you can't exclude one for the other, because online isn't strong enough to be your only presence and your only reminder. Some people may ignore your emails. They may not sign on to Facebook for a few days, and so they don't know that there's a different promotion out there. But they get something in the mail, and it's sitting there either on their kitchen table or by that drawer where everything else goes, and it's just a reminder that we're here, and we know that they are our customers, and we like to see them coming back, and it's a special offer just for them.
How many different promotions are you running, say, in a month, in the newsletter, by birthday, by all different ways?
I tried to count actually last night, and I lost track because we actually have dozens of different campaigns going out at any given time. And like for instance, right now it's October, and in Canada we have our Thanksgiving Day, the first weekend in October. So we have a Thanksgiving postcard that went out to 1,000 of our very top spenders, and there is very oversized, bright color, 2 offers on the back, one for dine-in, one for pickup or delivery. Is because since we added the dine-in, we find that we give people the option of how they'd like to dine with us, and this promotion is pulling right now, and this is valid until the end of November. And then we also have the monthly newsletter out, which has 5 different offers in it, special coupon offers that are either add-ons or a discount. And then we also have our Gourmet Pizza of the Month Club, and we have a rewards program in place. And so anybody who has birthdays or anniversaries for the month of October, they would have been sent a birthday postcard with an offer for a free pizza. And we also, the new customers, the lost customers, and then I send out, after I read your book, No BS Grassroots Marketing, I got an idea to do special referral certificates. So those go out to surrounding businesses but are just outside our 5-kilometer, 5-mile range. And this is just a special offer for someone, like my hairdresser, for instance. She'll hand them out to clients who have just gotten their hair done and, might be in the mood for a bite to eat, might not be at that particular moment in time, but she'll tell them who we are. We're just a couple of blocks away, and here's an offer because I'm a friend of Diana's. So I'd really have to sit and look at all the different offers, but perhaps what I could say is we started off with one, and then we added another, and then we added another. And we just keep going with that. And every time I look at the different marketing that we have in place, I look at if we can add another step or add another layer. So what's coming next is Lost Customer Letter 2. So instead of a postcard, it's going to go out as a letter and bright colored paper and bright envelope. And just one more way to get that customer to come back to us.
All right. We are literally out of clock. Diana, thank you very, very much.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Magnetic Marketing Podcast with Dan Kennedy. If you love hearing in on these lost Dan Kennedy talks and speeches and calls, then please let someone else know about this podcast. That's how you can help it to grow. And the more it grows, the more free Dan Kennedy we can bring to you. Also, Dan would love to give you the most incredible free gift ever, designed to help you make maximum money in minimum time. Now, this free gift comes with almost $20,000 in pure money-making information for free just for saying maybe. You can get this gift from Dan right now at nobsletter.com. Not only will you get the $20,000 gift, you're also going to get a subscription to 2 marketing newsletters that will be hand-delivered by the mailman to your mailbox each and every month. One from Dan Kennedy and one from me, Russell Brunson. To get this gift and your subscription, go to nobsletter.com right now.